The War Council of the Galactic Empire met inside the bright command hall, where star maps floated in the air like glowing rivers. Dozens of powerful alien leaders stood around the giant table. Their voices were loud, confident, and full of pride, but one voice did not match them. It was General Kraxer, the oldest and most experienced military leader in the Empire. His face was calm, but his eyes showed real fear. He raised his hand and spoke clearly. Do not provoke the humans. Do not try to control them. Let them stay neutral. The entire room became silent. Commanders stared at him as if he had lost his mind. One officer laughed. Humans. Those small creatures, why should the Empire fear them? Kraxer did not smile. He slowly walked toward the holomap, showing the human territory. Yellow lights blinked across the border, signs of quiet activity. I studied them for 200 years, Kraxer said. Humans are peaceful when left alone, but when they are pushed, they change. Their strength grows. Their unity increases. They fight like no other species. Another commander rolled his eyes. You exaggerate, General, but Kraxer continued. I saw their history. I saw how they rise from impossible situations. They do not surrender. They do not break. They become something dangerous when threatened. At the end of the hall, Emperor Vale leaned back on his throne. His voice cold Henadal Kraxer. Your warning is noted, but unnecessary. Humans are weak. Their fleets are outdated. Their world is alone. The Empire fears nothing. Kraxer's voice dropped to a whisper. You should. But no one listened. No one believed him, and deep in the dark of space, humanity prepared quietly, not for war, but for survival. And that was always far more terrifying. While General Kraxer's warning faded into the Council's laughter, the Empire's fleets were already moving. Across dozens of star systems, huge battleships powered up their engines, filling space with blue fire. Commanders believed they were marching toward an easy victory, a simple show of force to scare humanity. Admiral Torvik, proud and overconfident, commanded the front fleet. He stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, the Imperial Glory, staring at the star map with a smug smile. Humans will surrender the moment they see our ships, he said. They have no idea what true power looks like. But even as he spoke, his censor's officer frowned. Admiral, something strange across the human border. Their patrols are silent. No transmissions, no movement. Torvik waved it off. They are afraid. They hide. Far away, General Kraxer stood inside his private bunker, watching the same data with rising dread. He could see what others could not. The humans were not hiding in fear, they were preparing. He noticed patterns, patrol gaps placed too perfectly, silent sectors forming a shape, energy readings increasing in deep space. These were not mistakes. They were traps. Kraxer whispered to himself. They are waiting. Across human territory, old shipyards lit up after years of silence. Massive doors opened in lunar bases. Unknown signals traveled between blacksite stations. Humanity was too quiet, and Kraxer knew that silence was the sound before a storm. Back aboard the Imperial Glory, sensors suddenly pinged. Admiral, unidentified object ahead. No ID, no transponder, and it's big. Torvik laughed again. Just a human cargo ship, but then the object moved with impossible speed. One moment, it was far away. The next, it was right in front of them. Towering like a shadow made of metal, the bridge fell silent. Because this was not a cargo ship, it was human, and it was not weak. Admiral. Torvik's eyes widened in shock as the human ship appeared on their radar. It was massive, more massive than anything he had ever seen from humanity. It was too big to be one of their normal vessels. Is this a warship? The officer at the sensor station asked, his voice shaking. Torvik clenched his fists, trying to stay calm. It can't be. The humans have no such ships. But the readings didn't lie. The ship's structure was solid, reinforced, and built for battle. It had a sleek, sharp design that gave it a menacing presence. As it moved closer, Torvik could see its weapons. Large and aimed directly at them. Admiral, it's locked on to our main weapons systems. What are we going to do? the officer said, his voice rising. Torvik cursed under his breath. Ready, all shields. Prepare for. Before he could finish, the human ship fired. A single, powerful blast of energy shot across the distance, hitting the Imperial Glory like a thunderbolt. The whole ship shook, alarms screamed, and lights flickered. The shields held barely, but the force of the hit was enough to make Torvik's heart race. His ship was already taking damage. This shouldn't be happening, Torvik muttered, staring at the damage reports flooding his screen. Humanity can't do this. They can't be this strong. But the ship was still firing, now sending out waves of smaller projectiles that slammed into their fleets with terrifying precision. Admiral Torvik's smug smile faded. We underestimated them. Another wave of fire struck, and this time, the Imperial Glory shook violently. The human ship wasn't just strong, it was unstoppable. And as Torvik looked at the massive ship on his screen, he realized the cold truth. The Empire had made the biggest mistake of all. Admiral Torvik's hands shook as he tried to regain control of the Imperial Glory. The damage reports kept flooding in. His ship was wounded, but it was still operational for now. Return fire. Bring down their shields. Torvik barked, his voice filled with panic. The crew scrambled, their fingers flying over control panels. But each time their weapons fired, the human ship's shields absorbed the blasts with ease. The force fields shimmered, barely affected. The human ship wasn't just strong, it was designed to withstand attack. Admiral, the communications officer said, her voice tight with fear. We're not making a dent. They're shields. They're adapting to our fire. Every blast we make, they get stronger. Torvik stared in disbelief. Adaptation? That shouldn't be possible. The humans had no advanced technology like that, or so they thought. On the human ship, Commander Arik of Earth watched the chaos unfolding. He stood in front of a large, glowing map of the Empire's fleet, his face stone-cold. Prepare for Phase 2, he ordered. The crew of the human warship, a secret project kept hidden for decades, moved with swift precision. The ship's systems hummed with new energy, preparing for the second wave of attacks. With a single command, the ship's engines roared to life. It surged forward with incredible speed, faster than any ship the Empire had ever seen. In seconds, it was right on top of the Empire's fleet, weaving through their formations, as if it was a game. The Empire's ships tried to track it, but it was already gone, moving too quickly. Then, without warning, the human ship deployed its secondary weapons. Smaller pods, equipped with explosive charges, rained down on the Empire's fleet, causing massive explosions. The destruction was quick, clean, and unforgiving. Back on the Imperial Glory, Torvik could only watch as the truth hit him. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was a force of nature. The Empire's fleet was in chaos. Ships were spinning out of control, their engines damaged, their weapons useless. The humans had come out of nowhere and struck like a storm. The Empire's commanders were lost in panic. No one had expected this level of power. No one had believed General Krax's warnings. Admiral Torvik stood on the bridge of the Imperial Glory, his hands gripping the edge of the command table. His ship was barely holding together. Fires burned in the lower levels, and the crew was scrambling to keep systems online. We need reinforcements, Torvik said, his voice strained. Send out the distress signal. Get help. But before he could finish, the comms officer spoke up, panic in her voice. Admiral, there's another wave coming in. It's huge. Torvik turned to the view screen, his heart sinking. Another human ship appeared on the horizon, this one even larger than the first. It was a fortress on its own, with sharp angles and weapons bristling from every angle. No, this can't be real, Torvik whispered. His mind raced, trying to think of a solution, trying to figure out how to stop this nightmare. In the dark void of space, the massive human warship charged, moving with precision. This time, it didn't fire right away. Instead, it opened up a massive hatch in the center of its hull, releasing dozens of smaller ships. The smaller ships scattered, each one targeting different Empire vessels. They moved like a swarm of bees, each one delivering targeted strikes that pierced through shields and tore apart hulls. The Empire's ships fought back, but they were disorganized, panicked. They couldn't keep up. "Admiral," one of his officers said, barely audible over the chaos, "we can't win. We're outmatched." Torvik felt the cold weight of truth settle in. The Empire's last hope was slipping away. The Imperial glory was dying. Its shields were down, engines barely functional, and its crew was scattered in chaos. Outside, the human warships closed in, relentless and unforgiving. Admiral Torvik stood on the command deck, staring at the ruins of the once mighty fleet. There was no escape. There was no more fighting. The Empire had underestimated humanity, and now, it was too late. Torvik's mind raced. What could he do? What was left to save? He thought back to the warning Kraxa had given them. If they had listened, maybe things would have been different. But now, it seemed like the only option was to surrender. He walked to the comms panel, his fingers trembling. The emergency transmission button was still blinking red, but there was no one left to send it to. No reinforcements. No allies. Then, a voice cut through the silence. It was General Kraxa, still in the Empire's command bunker. His voice came through crackling, weak but firm. Admiral Torvik Kraxa said, "I have seen their strength. I have seen their resolve. We cannot defeat them, but there is one way to stop this. One way to survive." Torvik listened closely. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "The only way is to negotiate. The humans will not destroy us, but only if we surrender. Only if we offer them the peace they seek." Torvik's heart sank. Peace? After everything. It was their last chance. He turned to his officers, his voice steady but full of regret. "Prepare the transmission. We'll offer peace. It's the only way." Kraxa's voice echoed in Torvik's mind. "Humanity never forgets. If we survive this, we will pay the price for underestimating them." And Torvik knew that the price would be high.